Larry's house of NHL free agency prediction frolic. Hymes, and I forgot about Hymes. Hymes body lube, it's the best there. I said it. Hymes, it is the best, don't you know? I usually have our products up here in the, but we're going to need all the space today because we're going to be predicting. When I say we, I'm saying me. Rico's at a ball game, and Larry's working late, and I got to go to bed early. So Larry might be coming on in a bit to talk about all the free agents and stuff like that. But I'm going to run them down, and you guys are going to talk about it in the chat. Oh, he played 2 ball games in a row, Rico did. So he's not going to be on. He's cooked, he said. I'm going to share this out to the land. But we're going to be talking about NHL free agency. We'll talk about some of the things that happened today. What did we have? There was oh, yes, right. Florida Panthers. Okay. I loves me some Florida Panthers, don't you know? But I'm really putting my faith in him here. See, let me tell you the reason why. Let me tell you something. I love that. The reason why I'm a Florida Panthers fan. I started being a Florida Panthers fan. I started leaning towards being a Florida. It started sucking me in when they got Reinhart from Buffalo a few years ago. I loved Reinhart. I was like, this guy is, it's crazy that Buffalo's giving up on this guy. I don't know if he was giving up or if he asked to leave, which was happening a lot in Buffalo. Probably was the case. But I was just starting to get into analytics at the time, and I know that Reinhart was unbelievable defensively and, of course, 35, 40 goal scorer, and I just – it perked my ears up. And then I kept on watching Florida. I was interested in them. I saw Huberdeau. I'm like, they got to get rid of this Huberdeau guy. Huberdeau is just you can't have floaters like that and win cups too often. I know he's a 100-point guy, and people were telling me, he's not paid to play defense. Okay. If you want to say it that way, he's not paid to play defense. But best teams in the league now have very few floaters, if any, on them. So, but anyways, Barkov did all the work for him. It was sad to watch. And then the Huberdeau trade came. They didn't sign him because they said he was asking for too much. 100-point player, I think he wanted $10 million a year for 8 or something like that. It might have been a little high. But I wouldn't have signed him either. I wouldn't have signed him for less. And I don't know if they would either. And they ended up using him for the Kachuk trade, and I was bought in. That was it. I was an Oilers fan before that. And I just cannot root for a team that has management that I think that seems to not know more than I do. That's not right. You're getting paid millions of dollars. So when you talk about, fast forward, I mean, a lot of the stuff they do, I was like, Rodriguez, by the way, Meta getting Rodriguez in this deal, I predicted that because Meta is a brilliant analytics guy. Of course, he was in Florida, and he's got a chance to get Rodriguez at $3 million. Beautiful move. So they're getting Markstrom. Obviously, they're looking at their goaltender coaches, looking at the things that he struggled with or what have you. Also, Bobrovsky has been overrated the last little while. He has been. They won because their top 9, even 12, but especially top 9 forwards were just unbelievable 3-zone defensive players in the playoffs. In the regular season, they float around a little bit. They're one team where you can't look at regular season analytics for them. And they were really good at covering up Bobrovsky's weaknesses. Carolina does it too. That's why they can win with Bussy and Anderson and all of that. So I imagine they plan on doing that with Markstrom, and I'm not going to argue with them. I'm just not going to argue with them until I see a reason not to, because they are extremely good at what they do. So I'm not going to argue with them. Tough to lose Rod. Rodriguez is freaking awesome. Boquist, fourth liner, hits whatever. I mean, not better than what they had. Certainly they didn't re-sign Cotter. And that was a good move because he wasn't even a good fourth liner anymore. He was terrible. Boquist is definitely an upgrade. I think New Jersey did well. Now they got to find their goaltending. And more than likely, Maeda, coming from the analytics background that he has, is not going to go for an elite guy. It's going to be interesting to see who he goes for. I have a feeling he's going to poke around Gustafsson there. And I know he's not going to be ready early, but I think Minnesota is probably going to be floating him out there. I may do a three-way trade where they get Gustafsson and Detroit gets something, first-round picks or something like that. Maybe something like that. But it's going to be interesting to see the goaltender they choose. They have, I don't know, do they have the cap space for Hellebuyck? I'd have to take a look. But this is mostly for free agency today, and we'll see if Larry can get on. I'm going to share this out to get more of you in here so we can all talk about this stuff. Okay, good enough. All right, so with no more delays, we will bring up. You don't need to see my face any longer, right? I'll just sit here in the bottom so you can see this real good. All right, let's go down the free agency list here, and we'll go. This is at. I like this. I like the way they do this. The only thing I don't like about this is they don't show the countries they're from. So I end up having to go other places sometimes to see where it's gonna be, where they're from. But it is Sport Track, so Carey Price don't matter. Sergei Bobrovsky already $10 million. Apparently, he asked for $6 million for 6 years. I don't know what he's doing. Why don't you just say you don't want to be in Florida? I don't know what he's doing, honestly. He's made a lot of money as it is. He's 38 years old. Low key, man. Bobrovsky has not been killer for a while. I'm going to see if I can find my goalie cards here. He's probably the most overrated goaltender of the last couple of years. And it's hard to say because he won cups, right? But Minnesota is what am I talking about? Florida. I got Minnesota on the brain. Last year he was good. The year before that, he was really good. So I shouldn't say last year. The year before last, he was average. Last year, he dipped down quite a bit. Yeah, he was above average 3 years ago. About average last year. It's hard to blame him for last year because I think everybody was checked out. Like, I don't think he's a bad goaltender. Is he 36? Okay. says 36. Which one is it here? This is 37. This says 37. Somebody help me out here. Which one is it? 36 or 37? Anyways, 6 years. Why in the world did you think Florida? Like, obviously, you're just saying I don't want to go to be in Florida anymore. I don't know. But apparently, Toronto's on him. And I did a video on this, and you can go check out the reasoning that I think maybe Florida might be on him. Subscribe to my channel there, and you can search it. It's also on my Twitter. But to make it short, now Jonathan Davis, him and I go back and forth all the time. Still, he's on our betting show all the time, and he basically said that Hiller was told he had to use a 1-3-1 in LA. Now, I know he tried to do a 2-2-1 for a while, and then he went back to a 1-3-1 again. And maybe he's right. Maybe it's neat. There's no other way of knowing because he didn't, he hadn't coached before that. So maybe he does it a completely different way here. But if Toronto is on Bobrovsky, first of all, there's no rebuild. That's for sure. Second of all, I think that tells me that they're going to play some sort of defensive system that is more catered towards defense than aggressive offense. And with that, I still don't really understand it, except for one thing. It's possible that Bobrovsky and Marchenko are buddies somehow. And if you're going to play a defensive system anyways, like a goaltender-friendly system, you could bring in a Bobrovsky. And if that draws in Marchenko, it's probably worth it. But anybody else out there, I mean, if he's asking for that kind of a price, he may be just going for the bag here, because why else would you go to Toronto? And if Toronto's willing to pay it, I guess. I mean, what do they have for cap space? Like, they shouldn't have much for cap space. I know they're planning on trading Riley. I imagine they're not taking any money back on that. It's hard to believe they're not taking any. By the way, if you're there and you're listening to Tech, if you don't mind. Cap space. $13 million as it stands. They're going to get really? Nick Robertson, they might not qualify him and try to sign him last, or maybe trade him away. Emil, they'll sign because they just picked him up. And they got Hildeby and Stolars. So they'd be taking Bob. I just don't see the 6 years at his age. I just can't see it. If they do, I do. I know that he is like a health nut and one of the best conditioned athletes that there is, but man, that's asking a lot. And then you got $9 million tied up in 2 goaltenders. It's the only team I can really see Bobrovsky going to. Tell you the truth. I'm in much for a goaltender. I don't think he's going to Winnipeg. I don't think. Buck is really moving. Tampa Bay doesn't need one. St. Louis doesn't. Seattle really doesn't. San Jose, maybe to help him and Askarov kind of split the duties type thing, but 6 for 6. Pittsburgh doesn't make sense. Philly already signed Vladar. Ottawa doesn't make sense. New York Islanders doesn't. Nashville, no. Definitely not Montreal. Maybe the Kings will do something silly like that. You never know what the Kings will do. They'd have to get rid of Kemper somehow for that to happen. But, I mean, I don't think that would be a very good idea. Who knows with them, though? I don't think CC is a very good idea, too. Like, they made some moves that Detroit, no. Dallas, no. Columbus, I don't know if he'd go to Columbus. Be going back to Columbus? No, probably not. I can't see Carolina in that. I cannot see that. Them spending that much money on an old goal like that. Can't see it. So it's like about it. So I don't even know why Toronto would want to need to sign him that high. I guess maybe at a lower rate, there's some other teams that might be interested. But I see him. They said they're going to find out after the July 1st deadline. I think he probably will for one more year. It seems like they're trying to line them all up now to give him one more go. And they're also giving them an opportunity to be very competitive after he's gone. So with the Tuck deal and Kyrou, they'll still be a good team even if he leaves. This is the one that has me perplexed. Jacob Trouba, I'll tell you, I never know which teams are going to pay too much for this guy. He's very overrated. He's a top. I'd like to tell you what his second, if he's a second pair of stats would be, but he always ends up getting played on the first pair, and he's not that. He's really not that at all. He's very overrated. The only thing I can think of is, I know a lot of Montreal fans are looking at him. No way New Jersey's going to go there. No way. No analytics team is taking Trouba. Pittsburgh won't. I can't see Pittsburgh doing that. They got Dobson and Hudson on the right side. Like I don't know. It always surprises me where he ends up going, and somebody overpays for him. I hate to say it, I don't know if he'll do this because he hasn't won a cup. But if he wants the bag, Vancouver has to hit the cap floor, and they're looking for character guys. That's one thing he is. He's funny as hell, and he has his reputation of kind of a fighter and a hitter, and he does hit big, but he plays bad. Might be a good spot for him just to hit the floor. But besides that, I Winnipeg. No, can't be Winnipeg. He hates Winnipeg. What am I talking about? It's certainly not Winnipeg. I could see Philadelphia doing something like that. I don't know. He's not going back to the Rangers, that's for sure. Maybe Columbus. I mean, they signed Provorov. That was a terrible deal, and they're just happy somebody wants to go there. So I know that Detroit was on Trouba when they traded Wallman, and they thought they were going to trade for him, and then he ended up. So I don't know if that was the reason why they traded Wallman. But they have. Yeah, you know what? I bet you he ends up in Columbus if he's willing to play there. They'll probably overpay him. They got Dante Fabro there. He's not very good. Damon Severson's kind of slowing down even at 32. Denton Mattea is a better left defenseman. He's a right defenseman. And there's another Trouba, maybe Columbus. They're just happy to have guys there. If you play them on the second pair, Trouba's not too bad, depending on what you pay. 25 million cap space. They have a ton of cap space. If he's looking for the most amount of money, Columbus would probably be the spot. But I mean, it's not recommended. Trouba he's because he's right defenseman too. And eye test wise, like he's big, he can skate and everything, but he's just dumb as a post, man. He's not good defensively. He's got this idea that, oh, he's a shutdown guy. He's not. He is not a shutdown guy at all. He's not. 3 years ago, he was a better play driver than he was defensively. That was in the number one hole. Maybe you give him lower competition down in the second, he starts to look a little bit better. But I would say Columbus is. I just don't see teams lining up for this guy. But I always say that, and then somebody just out of the blue just gives him some kind of crazy contract. Maybe Detroit, because Falk is probably gone. But why would you want to sign in Detroit right now? I certainly wouldn't. I would rather sign in Columbus than sign in Detroit right now with that Larkin situation going on. So I don't see that happening. New Jersey's not going to do it, that's for sure, because Maida is an analytics guru. He's going to know to stay away from there. Maybe San Jose, but they're an analytics team too. I know that they're kind of desperate for defensemen, but are they that desperate? Seattle, they sign weird guys like Lindgren. Larson's really overrated there. Oh my gosh, he's not very good. But they sign guys like that. Lindgren, you never know who Seattle's going to sign, so that's possible. Toronto, I mean, if Chayka champions himself as an analytics guy and he signs Trouba, well, he can shove that right down his throat, because that's definitely not the case. So those are I would say Columbus, if I had to think about, if I thought it through. Peanut, yeah, I do believe that Anders Lee will be a Minnesota Wild. I do agree with you. We're going to get to that, but you brought it up, so I'll post it up here. Next, let's keep on going down here. Patrick Laine, I don't know if this guy's in shape or not. I would think not, because Montreal didn't even, he was healthy for half the season. I still think he hasn't got over his gaming issues or something like that. I think this guy's pretty much done. People have been, there's lots of Twitters putting Laine in their favorite teams depth charts and top 6, whatever. I don't think this guy's got any legs at all. Play him on the fourth line, put him on the power play. I'm okay, I guess, but I mean, you don't even want him on your fourth line. This league is too tough to have guys that are as useless as Laine right now, which is so sad, man. The dude could have been one of the best goal scorers of all time. It's just sad that he had to fall to that affliction that he had. John Carlson, Carolina has him right now. Apparently he's asking for $10 million for 2 years. Now, is that going to be the case for another team? Is that his way of saying I'd rather not go to Carolina? While I'm on the topic and we're here, they put Nichushkin out there for trade, maybe correlating with Carlson. I think, okay, this is the thing. If you're going to trade for a young 25-year-old player, Yeah, he's still under contract. Yeah. Price is still under contract. So if you're going to trade for a 25-year-old player, okay, that's from what I hear is looking for like 8 million for 8, something like that. And you're doing so with a team like the Carolina Hurricanes, who their general manager and basically their analytics staff is some of the best in the world. And they're floating a guy like that out there, a team that doesn't like to give up players. Like, they like to keep their guys. They don't like to give up players at all. Buyer beware. And I'll tell you, I'll say it right now. I'm not going to bring it up every time on JFresh, but I've already looked at it. Nikishin, I know he had 29 or 30 points last year. I know he got Rookie of the Year. Voters generally look at points and stuff like that. He played against very low competition. People, I get people, he played 18 minutes a day. What do you mean? Blah, blah, blah. Nobody does it better than Brendan Moore, that he can play players 20 to 25 minutes and still finds a way to make sure they're not playing against top lines. He does it with Gostisbehere 5-on-5. Gostisbehere doesn't play at top lines very often, as little as possible. And so did Nikishin, even less than possible. It's like he pretty much put him out against fourth lines. And guess what? Defensively, he didn't fare well. Now, he's only 25, and he still has some upside. But if you're throwing firsts, like several firsts, or like Trocheck to Carolina in this deal, I mean, Trocheck hasn't had the best last 2 years, but, I mean, it's been a shit show in New York. Yeah, I'm an analytics guy, but I do take it into context. When you got a team that is morally depleted as much as the Rangers are, you're going to see all their players pretty much go on a downward spiral analytics-wise. 3 years ago, Trocheck was very good. I wouldn't say he's elite, but he was very good. So I'm not sure if Carolina wants to put Stankoven back on the wing. I think that would be fine. Sure, he would be good that way. But to tell you the honest truth, as it sort of looks like a fair trade to start out with, I'd be worried if I'm the Rangers that they're just getting shit on again by the Carolina Hurricanes, like I said when they did the Miller trade. Keandre Miller, when they made that trade, when the Rangers made that trade, I did a video like right away, basically saying they are going to rue the day they did this trade. This is terrible. I'm not saying this is as terrible, because I do think Nikishin was sort of a late bloomer already, and whatever his underlines are right now could definitely improve. He does have a huge shot. I mean, he's got tools, so it can definitely become better, but I'm really not so sure that he's going to be a top four defenseman, like a top four defenseman. I think his ceiling is probably average. So, Peanut there. Yeah, I would say the Byram deal probably pushed him into thinking that he could make more than he is. I'll tell you, right now, as Nikishin has developed, $8 million is an overpayment. You're really taking a risk. You got to really believe that he's still got a lot to give. And when you got a team like Carolina, who is, except for Kokoniemi, is pretty much bang on understanding, on prospect development and players' ability analysis. If they're not giving Nikishin $8 million a year, that's a red flag, my friend. That is a red flag for sure. And like I said, his underlines don't look good. His 30 points, he played with Gosh to Spear, and he played against really low competition. If New York Rangers bring him up and they play him try to play him against top lines and stuff, I think he'll get crushed. Absolutely crushed. So I wanted to talk about that. Carlson, I still think he'll end up in Tampa Bay. I think Carolina, for a 6th-round pick, they just wanted to sit down and chat with them because they probably were thinking they were trading Nikishin anyways. So maybe that's might as well give a talk to them. They don't really have anybody that's spectacular to come up and take that role, so they're probably going to have to look for somebody, or they'll just keep them. I don't know. I don't think they're paying them that. I think they'll eventually trade them one way or another. And they got tons of cap space, so they're not taking Trouba though. There's no way. I just can't see it. I will be absolutely blown away if they pay Trouba. Shea Weber's still getting paid, Chicago. Do I have is this all positions? Yeah. Okay. Kevin Hayes, he'll probably get $1 million or $2 million or something somewhere. I really, if he even continue playing, but Detroit needs it. I don't think Detroit's going to be able to sign too much, but he may go there because, I don't think people are going to be lining up for Hayes. Winnipeg, you can go to Winnipeg. Maybe $2 million, 2.5. That's all he's worth right now. If he gets any more than that, pat himself and his agent on the back because shouldn't be getting that much from anybody. Maybe Boston gives him a little. They do need some bottom help, but he's just not very good. Not going to spend too much time on him. Yeah, I know. He's an RFA with no hard rights. Yeah. He doesn't have much. Carolina is pretty good to just kind of send guys away. But Hayes might get a PTO. Yeah, that's for sure. You want to come on and talk about it, or are you doing something? You're welcome to do so if you wish. Next. Anders Lee, I think he goes to Minnesota. I don't know how they figure out the money, though. If he doesn't go to Minnesota, I've heard Buffalo. But he might take less to go home. He's from Minnesota, so that's what I'm leaning right now. He's still he had a down year defensively last year, but that's mostly because I think Patrick Waugh was really playing an offensive possession type game and just burning themselves in the offensive zone because his defense was not very good. So I think Patrick Waugh played the Islanders exactly the way they needed to be played for the lineup that they had. But in general, Lee is usually really good and three zone defensively aware player, and Minnesota loves those guys. So I could definitely see it, but I don't know. I mean, they have freed up a little space. They did sign. It's taking so long. They did sign Bobby Brink to less than he had before. It's good for him to do that, to take that, actually. Got an opportunity there to play with some really top talent. Definitely could use some left wing help. And I've heard the Trennan's out there. So they could definitely use some help, but I still think that they're but 7 million. That's still they have in cap space. So if they're going to get Larkin, they're going to need to do something. 7 million in cap space. Apparently, Zook's not coming back. Tarasenko's not coming back. I've heard Trennan is out there. That would give them some room, but pretty hard to fit Lee in here somewhere. And if he doesn't, I mean, I just heard Buffalo. Then there could be a lot of teams he could go to, depending on what the price is that he wants to get paid. Who's got tons of cap space and has a chance to win a cup? It's pretty much what it would be. I think Boston doesn't. Oh, I've heard Montreal. I don't know if he'd want to go to Montreal. He would be a good stopover gap there in Montreal. I don't mind that. I'm not sure if he is wanting to go there, but I think it's a bad stopover gap. Oh yeah, I forgot. Peanuts, a big Islanders fan. So. Yeah, when money, it's term. Yeah, that's usually the big. That's saying that you're not in our future plans. He wants more term. I don't know what term he's talking about because he's pretty getting up there, but 3 years. If he takes the term, he probably takes less money. Maybe Minnesota can fit him in. I don't know how. The only thing I can see is if they are looking to trade Gustafson. If they're looking to trade Gustafson, if there's a team out there that doesn't mind, he's not going to be back, from what I understand, to the end of October. That would free up 6.5. Well, they probably get a goaltender back, or they got to fill that, and then they got room. I think that's very possible. I was talking about possibly New Jersey after trading Markstrom. I don't think they would go after Hellebuck. I don't think Maida's going to really. He's he's so in that analytics group that believe you don't pay high for goaltenders. I'm pretty sure he could surprise me, but usually guys that are that analytically intelligent, like Maida, they come from the cloth that you don't pay a lot for goaltenders, as we saw with Carolina. So now that being said, Bobrovsky got paid the bag, but that was long before Maida and the gang got there. If he's looking for 7 mil, I don't even think he's going to Minnesota for that. Peanut. If he's looking for 7 mil, he's probably not going to Minnesota. I don't know where the hell he would go for 7 mil, to tell you the honest truth. I like the guy. I can for 7 million, 7 million. That go. Everybody go to Columbus if they want the bag, because Columbus will pay you. Columbus will pay you. They got to go for it this year. Uh, maybe Pittsburgh has to reach the floor. I could see that. Mantha leaving, he does. Yeah, I could see that. See him going to Pittsburgh if he really wants that kind of a bag. But if he wants a chance at a cup, take it down a notch. He might have been asking for the 7 for the Islanders in the term because he realizes they're not going to be winning a cup there. Sometimes I think it's just players' way of saying, I probably don't want to go here. And then they'll find out that he signs for less somewhere else. So, what does Boston have for cap space? I don't think they should have lots. They just got Paterka. Wow, this is slow. Holy smokes. Why is it so slow? Yeah, he could fit in Boston. Let me see. Yeah. Like, I think they want to solve. They want to fix the Nurse to Boston for Lori, and Edmonton is going to retain to make the difference or something like that. Jason Lori's no. That guy might be okay for years, but no, definitely not. I'd just rather keep Nurse than that. I don't think they're signing Andrew Peak back. I thought he might go to Florida, but it doesn't look like it now. He started out in Florida. There's a lot of teams out there that's probably going to give him some money for depth, but I mean, they're confused. They're trying to win now, and they're trying to get draft picks. Saga, it's taken away a spot from James Hagens, but I mean, Lee could play with Minton, and who's new enough. Yeah, it kind of fits in there a little bit. They do have some depth, but I mean, Boston just they're not a contender. That's it. Like Lee, you got Paterka, you're still not a contender. You're not a contender. You just want to make the playoffs every year to say you did, then that's what you're basically doing. Boston ain't winning a cup. Boston is not winning a next. Kopitar is retired. Jaden Schwartz, my guess, he's from Saskatoon. Winnipeg will probably be offering him the most amount of money. They got to get guys there, man. They got to get guys there. Maybe it's time to go home. I mean, there's a lot of places Jaden Schwartz could go. He's slipped the last. He's definitely on the downturn, no doubt about it. You're really just hoping that he's had injuries. I mean, he's been a gamer, don't get me wrong, but how come I can't spell Schwartz all of a sudden? Oh, because I have it in goaltenders. Jeez. He's been a gamer his whole career, but he's suffered. He's had a lot of injuries, and it seems like it's really starting to creep up on him. Jaden Schwartz, 34, like pretty mid, third line, can produce offense, stuff like that. But I mean, if the Jets can get him, they'll probably take him. Where else? He's one of those guys you can plug in just about everywhere, depending on how much money he wants to make. Like any team that's going down the bottom of the barrel, and they need to, they need to fill out. Edmonton's from he's from Saskatoon. Edmonton, he's an boy. Maybe Edmonton gives him, you can play third line. Not my favorite play. He's probably getting overpaid. It wouldn't be my favorite play, that's for sure. Minnesota, if they strike out on everything, I think there's like a lot of teams that might kind of wait it out, and if they miss out on somewhere, then they'll give him a call. I doubt he gets money right out of the gates tomorrow, that's for sure. Depending on where he wants to go. It's kind of depending on where he wants to go. Tampa, I mean, they don't hardly have much cap space, but if they strike out in a couple of ways, I could see it. Maybe go back to St. Louis. I don't think so. Uh, but I just got a feeling he's going to Winnipeg. He's going back home to Winnipeg, if you ask me. Unless he wants to go on a bottom feeder, then be a veteran guy. Sort is that if they lose luck, but like Calgary or Chicago or something like that to be a veteran. But my gut says Winnipeg. Oliver Bjorkstrand. Watch out whoever signs Oliver Bjorkstrand because he just, I don't know, he's completely south last year. And the year before, he wasn't great either. He's really been on a decline. Uh, I've heard Toronto. I don't really get it. At this point, I think he'll probably end up going to someplace like Vancouver or something like that. That, that would be maybe Ottawa keeps on signing Swedes like crazy. Um, they want to build a big family atmosphere there in Ottawa. But I just buyer beware, man. I couldn't believe how bad he was in Tampa Bay last year. It was so bad. So bad. He's a guy that might just throw his hands up in the air and say, I guess it's Detroit. I'm going to go deal with that Larkin bullshit. I could possibly see that. Um, like I said, Winnipeg will usually take anybody with a name that'll come. So if he wants to go there, he probably could. That's usually the kind of guys that Winnipeg usually gets. Besides that, I don't think anybody with a real legitimate shot is going to be lining up for Bjorkstrand unless he's going like way down in price. No, I didn't say Dowdy. Who makes money right out of the gate tomorrow? As I go through this, I said he won't make money out of the gate tomorrow. That was Schwartz. As we go through here, there's a couple guys that I think will get money right out of the gate. Out of the guys we've talked about, probably Truba. I don't know why, but anyway, I'm on Schwartz. Tarasenko, I think he's going to LA. They need goal scoring there. He knows Panarin. I don't think it's a wise move, but I have a feeling that's where he's going. I don't know. With all the places Laviolette coached, did Tarasenko ever at one of them? I don't think so. But that's the first thing that came to my mind here with him. However, he's always gone where the money was. He's always gone where the money was. I I hope Chicago doesn't strike out and take him or something like that. He's just not that good anymore overall as a player. His overall game is not very good. Besides that, I'm not sure where he would go. Can't see Pittsburgh. Don't see him going. It just feels like LA for some reason. I think they got all their art. They need goal scoring, so Trevor Moore can play right, left. At the left, I love that Jared Wright kid. Tarasenko doesn't really top comp right now. You almost got to play him down with that Turcotte, like scoring off your. They had a difficult time scoring last year. I am still not sure that that's a player problem. They they were playing tight, but they went out and got Panarin to solve their goaltending issues. So I imagine if they went out and got Tarasenko to do the same, depending on the price it's going to pay. It Tarasenko. Somebody trying to make a Russian happy right now. Philadelphia, we can't see it. If Buffalo strikes out on everything, they may maybe to replace Tuck scoring, but honestly, I just wouldn't do any. I wouldn't do this if I was pretty much any team. I would be passing on him, but if you had to ask me right now, I'd lean LA for that one. Yeah, Kings have wingers, I know, but they don't have goal scoring. I know they need a center, but I mean, have fun with that out there in this market right now. So you're gonna wait it out, I guess. Wait it out for center to pop up. I mean, unless you want to roll the dice with Pedersen, I wouldn't want to do that. Trocheck, I guess. But yeah, I mean, it always surprises me where Tarasenko ends up. I don't know. San Jose doesn't need forwards. I mean, usually you try to dig around where maybe if somebody's trying to make a Russian happy, like Tarasenko went to Minnesota, and Kaprizov needed a contract. I don't know if that's totally related, but Tarasenko. Oh my God, he's even got worse. Oh, jeez. Yeah, it's whatever you want to do. I just have no interest in Tarasenko whatsoever. So none. I have no interest. Oh, he'll go to Edmonton. What am I talking about? They'll probably sign him in Edmonton. I don't know. If he wants to go there, I guess. I don't know. I have no interest in him whatsoever. Ilya Mikheyev, I think he ends up going out. That is a person that is a player I think he goes to Edmonton. 2 years ago, played really well defensively. Last year, they were playing from behind a lot, and I think he was trying to get his numbers up or something. He just went shot right down. But I think if he played with Dickinson again there in Edmonton, he wouldn't be bad. Chicago, I mean, they already got 2 Chicago guys there. Bowman seems to have a good relationship with these Chicago guys, so that would be my first team that I think he would go to. I mean, they need if he can play 2 years ago with Dickinson, then great, because they need a guy that can play relatively top comp and play that way, big time there. I know they got Hopkins penciled in down there, but I don't think that's what they want ultimately. He had a bad year last year, but so did a lot of players did. If he wants the bag, he can go to Vancouver. They'll probably pay him something. It depends on what he wants for his career. If he wants to go for a cup, if he wants to have a chance to at least make the playoffs, Edmonton would probably be a really good place. Anaheim needs players like that quite a bit. But I don't know if they know they need players like that. I'm not sure. I'm not sure yet. I haven't figured that out yet. So I mean, that's a possibility. But if I had to, if you gave me 5-1 odds, I would take Edmonton that he goes there. Oh, Kempe would be into it. Well, LaFerriere already did play center quite a bit. I thought he looked all right. That's what I just figured they were going to play LaFerriere there. But I don't think LA is going to do too much because, okay, if I know JD, you said that like they have this. Well, it's true they have had this identity of that 1-3-1 defense. If they hired Laviolette and told him to play 1-3-1, they got rocks in their heads. That's ridiculous. I don't even know why Laviolette would go there if that's the case. The guy's like one of the best man-on-man coaches of the last 20 years. I've never seen a guy get a team switched over to man-on-man as fast as him. It was amazing. If you're not doing that with him, whatever, you're done. It's ridiculous. Jamie Alexiak, he's gone downhill so bad. So bad. He's big. Somebody will give him. That's going to be. How do you figure where Alexiak goes? Is he going to stay? He can't stay in Seattle anymore. Somebody's going to pay him too much. So who's going to pay him too much? That's the question. Who's going to pay Alexiak too much? Anaheim needs righty. Again, Winnipeg. Winnipeg's just happy a guy wants to go there, but it wouldn't be a wise decision. Any of the teams I'm going to say it's not a wise decision. New York, I don't know. I think they locked their analytics department in the closet, so that's possible. I could see New York doing that. I could see the Rangers. I could see the Rangers being in there on that. I don't know if he'd want to, like, if he strikes out everywhere else, Detroit's still paying Sherratt money. They keep on signing him. If they can sign him, they can sign Alexiak, I guess. Besides that, I don't really see anybody that would be all that interested in him, or should be, anyways. Oh, who knows? Holland can sign CC to that. I mean, Demelin wasn't as bad. Demelin is better than Alexiak. It's really gone downhill. But if you ask me again, I don't know. Like I don't know how many options he's going to have here. I hope Montreal doesn't do it. I'll really lose faith in Montreal if Montreal does that, just because they need size. Really lose faith in what they're doing if they do something like that. Oh, good. Labby will do what he wants. Right on. Yeah, if he's playing man, if he's going to bring a man on man there, that'll be refreshing. probably be interesting to see. You got to get people better than CC. I don't know. Demelin's not really lined up for that either. I don't mind him, but not for man on man. Rasmus Anderson, there was this whole idea that you can tell me. I don't see how any way in the world. I mean, they have made room, $7 million in cap space, but apparently they had this handshake agreement before he when he went there. But I don't know how much that means, to tell you the honest truth. I think they want to. They just signed Lauzon, and they made that deal for Witherspoon, but they still got a lot of left-handeds there, if I remember correctly. I know, who did I see had on? They still got a lot of lefties there. Like, they brought him in for a reason to play right. I know people. There was a lot of people disappointed with his playoff performance, but he comes in place, has two different coaches and all that. And I mean, I do think if he's getting like 8 or 9, that's too much. He's a little overrated, but for right D's, he's pretty good. I don't think I like Hannafin playing right. Look at every single defenseman is a left, like every single defenseman. Hard to believe that they're not going to try to sign him, but I don't know what else they're do. I know I've heard Hurdle's name out there. He's got a 3-team he can get traded to list. Unless they can talk him into something more or something like that, I don't know. They only got $3 million cap space, so who knows with Vegas? They always seem to find a way to do something there. I think Anderson's probably gone. If he is gone, Boston was all horny over him. He almost went to Boston. Maybe they're going to keep on still being that way for him, but it would be carte blanche. Anybody needing a right D, depending on the price, $9 million. I don't know. I'd say Boston probably does it for some reason. They were already going after him. They've only got $7 million in cap space themselves. I guess they could trade Yoki Haru back. What am I talking about? He's isn't it? Trade anybody back. They could move Yoki Haru. They're trying to move Mason Lohrei. Mason Lohrei plays lefty. I suppose I heard that stuff about Lohrei with Nurse retained. Terrible move for Edmonton. Maybe they just think that if they got to play a lefty, you might as well get a good one. Play a lefty on the right side, you might as well get a good one. But Anderson would fit in there and then move Lohrei somewhere. Yeah, of course, Hampus Lindholm, the two Swedes playing against each other. But I just mentioned they don't really have a ton of cap space, do they? $7 million. So they'd have to, well, if they traded Lohrei, I guess. I know they were. It sounded like they were in on him before he went to Vegas. So I would lean that way. If not him, he's probably going to have to wait to see what teams strike out that are looking for right Ds. They want to pay the $9 million. I mean, that's asking a lot. It's asking a lot for him. How many teams even have the cap space to do that? Carolina was going after Carlson. I don't know if they want to pay Anderson $9 million. I doubt it. Could be. Toronto was in on him earlier, but they went and got Radish. Anyways, let's go to the next one. Michael Bunting, that's a guy that can go anywhere. He's 30 years old. Pick and plug wherever you want to put him. Maybe he goes back to Dallas again. They need cheap forwards in Dallas, especially if they sign Robertson. I don't think they can sign anybody. I think possible that Robertson ends up staying there for 1 year and they have more cap room the next year when they sign him along the way or something like that. He's going to be a guy that goes right down to the wire, and then he's a filler spot for someone right at the end. Like I could see the Islanders doing that deal. I could see going back to Toronto if he has any cap space. Like he's just one of those guys that people are like, okay, well, I guess we're going with. Okay, I guess we're going with. Little Michael Bunting. Let's put Bunting with. Could be anywhere. Next. Mason Marchment. I thought it was Vegas. I just don't know if they're going to have the cap space for it. He had all 7 Canadian teams on a 10-team no-trade list, and he's from Toronto. A lot of people saying he's going to Toronto. But, I mean, all 7 Canadian teams on his no-trade list. He's probably still not wanting to go to Canada. So I find that unlikely. He doesn't want to go to Canada. If they lose Robertson, I could see him going to Dallas, back to Dallas again. I know he would love that. I'd like to say Vegas, but I got to see how they find cap room. If they find a way to get rid of Hurdle or something like that, I could see it. Possibly Buffalo to replace Tuck, but I mean they're not going to have that much cap space either. I would say either back to Dallas because he loves his no tax states. Seems to be, anyways. And he's not going to Florida. I don't see Carolina doing it. I think Boston will be just on any one of these guys because they're just building for depth. You never know there, but they don't have any money. They got to do something to get rid of their cap space. A lot of teams tight. That's why I think a lot of more trades this year too. Also, there's not a strong free agency. I could actually kind of see Pittsburgh. How did he do last year? Because he's up and down, that guy. Yeah, 50. Oh, yeah, I had a really strong year, actually. Second liner. I think just going to take a flyer here. Say he goes to Pittsburgh. They need a little more grit. He's good. When he wants to be, he's very good all over the ice, all three zones. Like, I like him a lot. I like him a lot. Kuzmenko, he's going to go. Vancouver. I think he goes back to Vancouver. He's a good filler guy. He's had some of his best playing. He played some of the best years. I can't remember how many years he was there, but he was there. Was with Vancouver. Okay, Vancouver is going to need some offense. I don't think there's a lot of teams going to be lining up for Kuzmenko for his overall game. It's kind of bounced around quite a bit. There usually says that maybe they don't click with a lot of players. I could be wrong about that. But he's one of those guys that just he can drive to the net. He's just not a very high IQ player. It just feels like he'll be. It feels like a really cool thing for Vancouver that's trying to build up a better reputation for players wanting to go there and being there and stuff, for a guy that used to go there to come back. If he's looking to win a cup, I don't know. Go to Ottawa. Go to Ottawa if you can fit under it. I'm not saying Ottawa will win a cup, but I mean it's better chance than Vancouver. Somebody could sign him low. He's at $4 million. I don't think he's going to get much more than that. Please, everything I just said makes me think he's going to Edmonton. For their sake, that's nice. So anybody looking to? Oh, you know what? Tampa Bay had Bjorkstrand last year. I could see them doing something like this. I could see them being a Marchment too. What's the cap space? Marchment would be happy to go to Tampa Bay. Should have thought about that. $13 million. Who do they got to sign? Corey, yeah, Marchment. That's where he's going. That's where he's going. He's going to Tampa Bay. I'm willing to bet. I had a hard time scoring last year. I mean, he did offense, but he plays their type of game. Yeah, Zemus Gergensen. He can play up and down the lineup. For a right winger, I think I've seen him play right wing. They could try him there with. Because Nick fell off pretty bad. Try him there with Sorelli and Hagel. He'd fit in all right. I'm just not sure about the right side for him. I think ultimately they would want to find a right winger. Like almost every single one of their players are. Every single one but Point is lefty. So that would be a bit of a problem. It is a problem. Got to have righties and lefties. Makes it difficult. So what did I say? I could see Pittsburgh because they need to hit the floor, and he's a type of they really. I think they're probably trying to build their team to have, but they have very little of it. So if he was willing to go there, I'm sure they'd be willing to at least talk to him, that's for sure. But right now, I think Tampa or Pittsburgh. He had all 7 Canadian teams. Saul asked this. He had all 7 teams on his no trade list, and he only had a 10-team trade list. Saad's asking why not Montreal. So if he had all 7 teams on his no trade list, he's probably not interested in going to Canada. So that's why not Montreal. Zuccarello, I think that's Edmonton, man. I think once they get rid of Nurse, there's a lot of similarities between Minnesota and Edmonton, actually. But I think that's Edmonton. I'm going to go down through these quicker now because I got to get to bed here soon. So we got Jensen. He's hurt. He's a right D. Somebody will give him a shot. If Boston strikes out, it probably Klingberg is an interesting guy. Puck moving guy. I wonder if Toronto will give him another shot. They keep on getting these puck moving guys on the regular. St. Louis might use him as a filler piece if they strike out elsewhere. Calgary might think about bringing him in to help those young guys they have there. The Perek and Nemec that they just brought in. They don't really have any puck-moving veteran defensemen there now, so they might want to think about that. So, yeah, I could see Calgary if you want to do that. If he's trying to find a contender, he's just so terrible defensively. Like, it'd have to be a team that really is strong that way and just kind of wants a power play specialist type guy. But I have a feeling that Calgary would be a good filler spot for him. Like I say, Toronto keeps on getting these puck moving guys. They're going to lose. They're going to trade Riley. If he's willing to sign for a low amount, they could use him as a power play specialist. But Radish is probably going to have that as well. It's kind of one of those players that may surprise you wherever he goes. You go, really? Klingberg, I could see Carolina doing that. They have OEL, yeah, that's true. Just saying, like, I don't know if anybody's going to play him high in the lineup. If they don't get Carlson, maybe Carolina. Yeah, they played Nikishin very low against very low competition. Pretty much through last year, he bumped up a little bit, but it was pretty low. They could do the same with Klingberg. But I mean, gosh, the Spirit and Klingberg on the bottom 6. I don't know if the Habs are going to be doing all that much. I know the fans are getting very impatient there, but I don't think Montreal's impatient at all. I think Montreal's doing the same thing that Stevie Y wants to do. They're gonna they're gonna build through the draft, and they're gonna keep on letting these kids grow. They're not they're not ready yet. They're not ready to go for a cup yet there in Montreal. There could be some things as we go down here because I'm going to go more quickly here. Boone Jenner, I heard Toronto. If he's willing to go Toronto, there's a guy that could fill a spot in Montreal. You don't want to play him as a center anymore, though, and they're looking for a center. Eli Tovinen, I like him for Edmonton if they can have the money for him. Boone Jenner, I'm here in Toronto, though. Heavily here in Toronto. Trying to build some character there. He is a character guy. I feel sorry for the guy in a way. Like he took some very team friendly deals all the way along there with CBJ. Sometimes I don't think this is totally like has much to do with Marchenko and them leaving, but I think a lot of players are kind of disappointed he didn't get paid a little bit. I know he's slipped, but he's been good to CBJ, and they're trying to build a reputation of, if you come here, we'll treat you well. And having Boone Jenner being moved off there, I don't know. I think Edmonton will give a shot at Tolvanen if they still have any cap space whatsoever. I've heard Detroit, but I really don't see anybody going to Detroit that has options right now with what's going on there. Toronto's a team that I could see too. I could see that for Toronto. Tolvanen, perfect kind of mid-package guy that fills in those third and those depth roles. He's a pretty darn good player, overall player. Yeah, anybody that's picking him up, you're getting a good. I could see New Jersey doing it too. I know they just got Rodriguez. That was that was like a no-brainer there with Maeda going back to Rodriguez, but they kind of got enough depth there that maybe they don't. Really feels like a New York play. It does. New York Islanders, that is. I think the only thing about Tolvanen is there are so many teams out there that can use his middle six skill set. He might make a little more than people think. It's just I think he's going to have leverage with a lot of teams to get max if he wants to do it. He's that perfect type of guy that shouldn't cost you too much, but he could push himself up into the fives here. So if he's pushing himself up to the fives, I don't mind the Rangers. They got cap space. They're trying to build a deep team there. They're trying to build a team that I can tell anyways that wants to be there to play hockey, not just because it's New York. In fact, as little about the fact that you're in New York and you got all the lights and all that kind of stuff like that, and you can do everything you want to do. So that's a guy that can go to a few places. He can kind of pick his spot a little bit. I could see Ottawa being him. He's a little too small for Montreal now. I think they want some size. Seattle may do. You don't know with Seattle. They don't like to lose guys. Yeah, it's just there's not many centers out there on the free agent market. They got that Hayes kid coming up. It's a tough market out there for centers right now. very tough market for centers. It would probably have to be a trade, honestly. Okay, I'm going to slip down if there's any. Connor Clifton, he's just going to be a filler somewhere. Carson Soucy, I'm hearing that he would be part of the. What was that? Yeah, isn't he? Didn't he get signed by the Islanders? That if they trade Nurse, they're going to bring in Soucy. Well, okay, if you want to suck, I guess. It's not very good. Mario Ferrero, I don't know why. For me, this seems like a slam dunk New York Rangers. They got 15 million cap space. I don't know why. It just feels like it to me. Slam dunk New York Rangers. They got Matthew Roberts in there. They want to have him in the top, like a for sure spot in the top 4. Schmidt, guy that they drafted, which I forgot all about it. I was like earlier on, I was saying that Schmidt's to the Rangers, and then I just completely forgot about it. I didn't pay enough attention to the draft this year, but that feels like the Rangers to me. They'll get most money. I think you can't hear me? I'm not muted. Can you hear me now? Anyways, I was saying Ferrero would be. Like earlier on, I was saying that Schmidt's to the Rangers. Yeah. Anyways, I think the Rangers make most sense to me for Ferraro. Watch out for LA. Except that looking for puck moving guys, but I mean, if Edmondson is in your second pair, now you can hear me. Okay, good. Trevor Van Riemsdyk, right? I mean, he had a decent year last year. I think he's another one of those guys that are a really good spot to bring in, to have several options for him to go to. Ottawa could really use a guy like that down in their bottom pair. They're a little light on their bottom pair. That Montempolo or whatever is not very good. But any team looking to shore up the right side. Tampa Bay Lightning, it depends on if they get Carlson or not. But I mean, a little veteran there to help out, I could see. San Jose, I wouldn't doubt that San Jose gives him a shot too. Like, kind of play with a lot of 3D guys if he wants to go there. There's a lot of teams that'll have some interest in Van Riemsdyk. I don't think he's going to be able to get over like 4. And he'll be able to push himself to the max. There's a lot of guys that are going to go that are going to go get paid more than, probably going to end up getting paid more than Van Riemsdyk, that I would take Van Riemsdyk over. So I think I think LA finds a way to sign him. They need centers. He wants to stay there. I think he ends up staying there. Colton Sissons, now you're getting to a point where he's really a glorified fourth liner. Frederick Anderson, I don't know. I think he might retire. Maybe did the Rangers ever solve their backup? Yeah, maybe he signs for $1 million for the Rangers or something like that. Maybe you go. Wasn't he in Ottawa? No, different Anderson. Never mind. No. But I think there's a really good chance he retires. Luke Shen probably should retire. Uh, I don't think there's going to be too much interest. Might get a PTO. Andrew Peak, anytime you're a right defenseman, there's probably a place out there for you as a placeholder. I thought maybe Florida might give him a shot again, but again, there's one for Winnipeg. Some depth for Winnipeg because I don't think there's going to be a lot of people lining up for him. I don't think there's going to be a lot of teams lining up for him, but he's a right D. He's going to find a home somewhere. Nashville. I could see Anaheim. They traded away a whole bunch of right D. Or not traded away. They're not signing Trouba. Yeah, the Gudis. I could see Nashville. I could see Anaheim, actually. I could very much see Anaheim doing that. Stuart Skinner, I thought he was going to Florida. Now, I think there was talk of him going to Ottawa as a backup for Allmark. I could see it. Not many more options out there for him. No real starting options. He's not as bad of a goaltender as he's made out to be at all. Depending on what New Jersey does, I think Allen signed again, right? Made as an analytics guy. Maybe he sees these underlying numbers of Skinner and gives him a shot. Allen. Oh yeah, he's signed for a long time. 8 million. What's their cap? Still haven't signed Heischer yet, right? So they got to go. I mean, Heischer's wanting 12 or 13. I don't know how they're. I imagine they're looking to trade Bolton. They gotta make some room here quick. I don't want 12 or 13. Oh, that's not till next year. He sure's got one more year at this price. Never mind. But they should be okay. Maybe a platoon with Skinner and another goaltender there. St. Louis, there's not a lot of goaltenders needed. That actually makes the most sense. Maybe they'll platoon Skinner with some other goaltender. If Anaheim could not have Husso anymore, I could see them being interested. But there's not a big market out there for goaltenders. Vincent Desharnais. That guy had an incredible year last year. Anybody out there? I don't know. I'm really going to be interested to see where he goes. He had a really good year last year. He blossomed really well. I wonder I think he goes back to. Oh, anybody watching, waiting for Montreal? Saul Desharnais. I would take him over Jack Guy a million times and a million times over. There you go. I think he's a French Canadian. Desharnais. That would be a great pickup for them. Ottawa traded for Harrison. You're right. That's right. Thanks for reminding me of that, JD. Yeah, I mean, there's not many places for him. But I'll say Montreal. Jeremy Lauzon, from what I understand, Vegas is signing him or has already signed him. I don't know. But he's another guy. Like, if you're looking for really good depth, I think he's French Canadian too. So it's either Desharnais or Lauzon. I mean, not saying that just because it's Montreal, but usually it's a dream of players to. I can't remember. Is Desharnais from, or does he just have a French Canadian name? Better make sure. Oh, yeah, that's right. They don't tell you here. I wonder if he'd go back to Edmonton again. That would be a good pickup for them. Okay, what happened to my thing? Oh, did I cancel it out? That's why. Yeah, I did by mistake. No. Sport Track, where the hell are you? Boring bets. How you doing, bud? Okay, I gotta finish her off here. Free agents, all positions. I gotta get to bids. So I'm just gonna pick out some guys as I go down here that I find interesting. Desharnais, like I said, I like Montreal. Anybody, any wise? I could see Pittsburgh. Desharnais. Just anybody that's in any team that is a heavy analytics based team. Probably there's a lot of teams that won't see how good he was last year. He was really good last year. 30 years old. It's like one of those late bloomer type guys. Or he just had a freakish year. Happens at times. It's same as Lauzon. Both of those guys. If you're a team looking for defense, I'd be looking all over that. Now you're getting down to like Kevin Stenlund, guys that I really wouldn't be too. Connor Ingram, he's still floating around going back to Edmonton again. I think it's very possible. I think he was very appreciative of Edmonton for giving him a shot after taking a year off for his mental health. And I just have a feeling he's going to go back to Edmonton. Brandon Duhan, he's always nice to have. a fourth line guy, kind of a journeyman. But I mean, if you're looking for any team that's looking for some energy, he's an energy bunny. He can get you moving. He's a pretty solid fourth liner, actually, too. He could go to a lot of different places. But things like Brandon and Hymes, they're never without a job. They'll play as long as their legs are going. There'll be somebody out there that will be interested in adding to that fourth line. I can see Florida if he's willing to play for $1 million. They just traded a whole bunch of players away. They'd probably wait to the end to see how much they got and do something like that. I could see Florida. But you always got a home when you're a working guy like that, energy guy like that. That's like just plays with that. He just plays with a great energy, not just the speed and everything, just period. His game, he's very committed. He's worked his ass off to stay in the league, and those are always great places for teams that are rebuilding and having a guy like that to push young players and stuff like that. So he's always gonna have a place. I'm sure he's gonna try to find a place that he can win a cup with, though, because he's getting up there. Jake Bean now. I think Blueger's going to stay in Vancouver. He loves. I've heard him interviews with him and stuff like that. He just loves Vancouver. He loves the whole energy of being Canuck. They need to hit the cap floor. I'm pretty sure they're going to keep him there. Victor Olofsson, if he wants to stay in Calgary, can. I think they'll probably give him another contract there in Calgary. Vitek Vanacek had a rough year last year. I'm hoping for his sake he can find $1 million somewhere to be a backup somewhere. Is anybody going to be so priced out that they have to just sign like a guy like Vanacek or have a really good? Oh, you know what? Maybe Boston. Korpisalo is going to be out there for somebody. There are because they're paying a lot of money to. I could see Boston for $1 million. Anybody who's got a goaltender that's going to do most of the workload. Oh, New York Islanders are going to lose. Oh no, they got the other Russian coming back, so that can't be. I feel Boston to me. Skull might get. I don't know what Korpisalo is going to get. We haven't even got to him. I haven't seen him. Did I flip past him? Or does he have term and they're trying to trade him? Jack Roslovic, they're Detroit. Now you're getting into guys that are going to just want a contract. Toronto was going to sign him last year. It was between Toronto and Edmonton. He waited and waited and waited and waited for Toronto to match Edmonton's 1.5, and right to the bitter end, which is really not a good look for Edmonton. Yeah, so I hear people saying he's going to get $3 million. If he does, it's going to be a team like Detroit that's going through that Larkin issues and need to fill out a roster spot. He's not very good. He's just not very good. I wouldn't want him on my roster, to tell you the honest truth. You can't play him in the top 6, rely on him to score too much. You can't play him in the bottom 6. He's a very aloof player. I wouldn't touch him. Oscar Sundqvist, this is a guy, I think he goes back to Pittsburgh for a league minimum or something like that. Simply because when he first started out, Crosby loved him. Absolutely adored him. I also could think, see, Vancouver's looking for character type guys. He's about as character as you get. They might even pay him a little more to go there. He's not the greatest player, but his character is just insane. He's worked so hard just to be able to stay in the league. He's a work. If Crosby likes you, man, he means you work your fucking balls off. And if you're going to bring young players in, it's great to have a guy like that there. Kasperi Kapanen, Edmonton didn't qualify him. I think he could go to Toronto. If he can stay healthy, he's shown signs of being a good all-around player. He just can't stay fucking healthy. He hasn't really made the bag anywhere, too. I just feel like Columbus, someplace that he would go. I think he's going to go for where the money is there, and maybe another Detroit guy. I think he's going to want to get paid. He hasn't really got paid his whole career. He's got an opportunity here. As much as he'd like to go for a cup, I don't think there's too many teams that are going to want to give a guy like that 3.5 injury risk and all of that. Although if he could stay healthy, there's end term and everything like that. It's just Detroit comes to there's two players. I think like those kind of players might end up going to fill out their rosters. Again, feels like an Islander pickup. It just does. Feel like something the Islanders would do. He can score. When you got to play him against lower comp. And when he was in Edmonton, they were like, "Oh, you lower down the lineup." Yeah, because David and everything took all the top comp. They were all playing against lower comp. McDavid played against top comp at home and away all the time, which isn't what you want. If Edmonton can get Mikheyev and they get Dickinson and they keep on building that their forward depth that can play top comp, McDavid's going to get 20 more points plus next year. But it's like a pick and plug player that he used to play for Pittsburgh. Like Pittsburgh's filling in with those guys all the time. I can see Toronto trying him again. Depends on what he wants to get. Depends on how much he wants to play. Get paid. Detroit's got tons of cap space, and they're going to be hoping they can get somebody there. If he wants the money, Detroit's probably it. And I don't blame him for wanting the money. He hasn't really ever made like lots in his career. He's made lots, but in comparison to other players, of course. Logan Stanley. I heard that the Jets brought him back and had dinner with him and everything. Yeah, but he's back as a free agent. He's big. He's got a big shot. Somebody will give him a shot. So not just give him a shot. I mean, he can play in your bottom pair. It's fantastic, but anybody who likes big players that play in your bottom pair, they would likely give him a shot. Give him $1.5 million, $2 million, or something like that. He's now 28 years old. He's probably going to be trying to look for term. Lefty. Again, filler players for Vancouver. They got their defenses. Tough to find a spot. He might have a hard time finding a place. If Edmonton trades Nurse, I could see them doing that, to tell you the honest truth. I could. Trades Nurse and they don't get any D back, I could see him doing that. Getting right down to the nitty gritty now. Tarasov. I'm here in Edmonton, man. If he goes to Edmonton, if you got Tarasov and Jari as your freaking two goaltenders, how could you possibly get worse and worse and worse? Seriously, I'm hearing Edmonton for Tarasov. Florida's got some of the best goaltending coaches in the world, and he did not play well. I think that's about as far as I'm going to go here. Oh, Ryan Shea. There's a good one. Ryan Shea. Sneaky little pickup for anybody. He's 29 now. That feels like another Edmonton pick. They're going to need an LD there. I could see San Jose giving him a shot too. Calgary. Calgary's going to need some D there. They got a lot of young guys. Yeah, they got just nets off, and ball's not bad. Yeah, I could see Calgary. Him and Oli Mata splitting it up between each other. All right, that's my full 42, boys and girls. I got to get to bed. Got to get to bed early today. Thanks for listening, everybody. Oh, Canucks are not keeping Bluger, says. Oh, really? That's interesting. I thought for sure he'd stay there. But that's my full 42. I stayed on for 2 hours going through. I'll probably be on tomorrow during free agency to talk about what actually happened. And I'll see you then. I got to get to bed. Okay, bye.